Silent Hill might be the most horrifying game I've ever played. From the opening scene to rolling the credits, my heart was beating through my chest. And after beating Silent Hill 2, I can confidently say this game takes the cake. It's the best horror game out right now. I literally can't think of another game that makes you feel the emptiness of the world around you. Scary honestly isn't even a good word to use to describe Silent Hill. This game is absolutely dreadful. It makes 30 minutes feel like 3 hours. I'll be going down a single hallway at a snail's pace because around any dark corner, any single crawl space is horror. Absolute psychological terror. But that's also what makes the game absolutely special. I've been holding out talking about Silent Hill for a few months because I just wanted to sit with it. I wanted to feel the game, and was it just, oh, I was living through the zeitgeist of Silent Hill, or was it truly that special? You know, after playing a game, your opinion might change because it's no longer in your daily rotation. But Silent Hill 2 for me is up there with Death Stranding, Red Dead Redemption 2, and Resident Evil 7 as some of my favorite games in the past 10 years. I can confidently recommend this game to anyone who's willing to brave the dense fog. And when I say brave the dense fog, I mean that. I mean, you have to be brave to finish this game. This game makes it way too easy to put that controller down and never come back to it. And that's what I think makes it so unique to the current gaming landscape. Like I mentioned before, Silent Hill 2 is not for the faint of heart. The only game that I've played in the last 10 years that reaches this level of horror is probably Resident Evil 7, but in virtual reality, in VR. And even without VR, Resident Evil 7 is still one of the scariest, if not the scariest Resident Evil game available right now. It made me feel like the first time I watched Hereditary. If anyone has watched that movie, you know that feeling in your stomach of pure emptiness if it's just hollow inside. It's gonna make your hands sweat, and it's going to make you wish you were playing anything, absolutely anything else. And you could literally be playing Hello Kitty Island Adventure right now. But no, instead you're running away from this thing. This game's audio design is truly criminal. When I began playing this game, I was home alone for the weekend. And when I went and put the controller down, I started to hear weird noises. And I just couldn't pinpoint where they were coming from. I thought something was like messed up with the surround sound, like I was hearing it behind me, but also like the left of me. I wasn't going crazy, I swear. Then I realized the sound was coming from my DualSense controller. So I had to turn that down a little bit. When Bloober Team is making me feel that way, making me feel that anxious around my own house, I know they're cooking up something good, especially when they're doing all the little things right. Whether you're walking around outside or inside, the audio design in this game is always going to have an impact on you. I had to put the controller down again when I had to do like laundry or something over the weekend. I noticed that there was like a weird sound coming from my TV. It wasn't like the pause screen menu music. It was something staticky, something like it was like someone trying to talk through the TV. I started to hear what sounded like heavy breathing. I peeked around the corner of my wall just to make sure that there wasn't somebody in my living room. And the only way I figured out how to stop this was to actually move James, the character. So I realized when I had to get up to do something, you know, get a drink or whatever, I had to go to the PlayStation home menu because I didn't want to hear any of those noises when I got up. But that's just one way the game consistently captivates you. It brings the world of Silent Hill to the best of its ability into your house, so you're reminded of it constantly. And oddly enough, just like James, whether you want it or not, the monsters, all the sounds, they're with you until the end of the game. It's really a place you just can't escape. I have no idea how I make this game sound good right now. It sounds absolutely terrible and terrifying, but trust me, it's really fun. Unending sound of dread starts to seep into your mind a little bit, and you really don't want to stop because you don't know what's behind you. You constantly have to tell yourself that you have a mission to do, you're here for a reason, and that's why you're gonna push through on all these story beats. This game will exhaust you. It wants you to put that controller down and just stop playing, but the story is just so well written that once you're in it, you really can't put the controller down. I'm not going to really be spoiling anything in the game, but I do want to point out the symbolism part. From the different bosses, characters, enemies, whatever it is in the game, there's always a hidden meaning behind the reason why you're talking to this person or why you're meeting them when you are. And obviously you're like, well, isn't that for every story? But No, Silent Hill 2 was just a little bit different. It's a little bit deeper than some of the other games that I've played recently. It oddly enough makes me want to go ahead and read all the notes so I kind of have a better picture of why I'm in this area of the town or what this character means to me. Or reading in games is definitely something I just don't want to do at all anytime ever. For a game to make me want to read the letters, to read the notes, it really has to be something special. And you'll start to begin to piece things together bit by bit. And don't worry about it, you probably won't be catching any of these references. Maybe you'll catch a few during your first playthrough, but what I'm talking about is really for lore investigation after you're done playing the game or going and completing a second playthrough, because the game does have about 6 different endings. And if you're really interested, there's hundreds of different deep dives into the lore of Silent Hill 2 on YouTube. And I'm sure there's also some articles if you want to read about those. Some of the things that I read up on and learned after completing the game were just jaw-dropping. I had no idea that boss battle was supposed to mean that there's something I really appreciate about a game that doesn't give me everything at face value. Games like Death Stranding or Red Dead Redemption 2, where you're listening to the dialogue, but maybe on your second playthrough, you listen back to it and it just hits that much deeper. You know, these aren't like Call of Duty set scenes. To find out honestly why some of these people are even stuck in Silent Hill or how this town came to be this way, in a weird way, it makes you want to explore every little corner of every single map, even though every single corner on every single map is absolutely terrifying. I don't even think it's a spoiler because it literally happens in the first few seconds of the game. But if you try and leave, like go up the road, you get a trophy that says no turning back. That pretty much sums up the atmosphere of Silent Hill for pretty much your entire playthrough. I'm not sure if I'm gonna dive into like some of the older titles of Silent Hill just yet. I think I kind of want to hold off and see if they're like remaking Silent Hill 3, Silent Hill 1. I think that might be an easier way to continue jumping into these titles. If I did jump into another one, I'd probably be Silent Hill 3, probably the next logical step in the series. But honestly, that one even looks freakier than Silent Hill 2. I've seen some of the gameplay and what are these monsters? And there's something to say about those like dated graphics. I don't know, it gives me it's a bit creepier. I don't know, I've been enjoying some of these remakes of the horror games, Resident Evil, like what, not one yet, 2, 3, 4, and Dead Space. So I'm pretty interested in seeing what Bloober Team and Konami continue to do with the Silent Hill franchise. I'm not going to put too much stock into these rumors, but supposedly they might be remaking another one. But that also seems pretty easy to guess just based on the fact that it seems like Silent Hill 2 was pretty successful. It would just be awesome to have more of these games on modern platforms. But yeah, that's my experience with Silent Hill 2. This isn't really a review, it's just my main takeaways from the game, my experience, what I really appreciated about it. Kind of similar to my Death Stranding video. Honestly, I probably should have made this whole video on the audio in the game because it's top tier. It really does just leave an impression on you, and honestly, the ending of the game is unforgettable. I've only seen one of the endings. Supposedly there's 6, and it's just all based on the decisions that you make throughout the game. Just an absolute masterpiece. Something I wish I could play for the first time again. So yeah, let me know what you thought about the game in the comments below. Have you played it yet? Are you interested in checking out Silent Hill 2? Maybe it's just a bit too intense and you haven't finished it yet. I totally get that one as well. Regardless, let me know. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.